Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashyatai Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So we welcome you for our another session of Mahabharata on the 10th book of Mahabharata, which is Saptika Parva, and we'll be discussing it today evening. So just to give you a little quick recap of what we discussed yesterday is what we saw yesterday, how at the end of the war, Lord Shri Krishna brought Pandavas to the camp of the Kauravas, and Lord Shri Krishna, before he got down from the chariot, he asked Arjuna to get down from the chariot along with his Gandiva bow and arrows. And as soon as Arjuna jumped from the chariot, as soon as Arjuna left, he got down from the chariot, and then Lord Shri Krishna jumped off the chariot. Immediately the chariot was burned to ashes. Everyone was shocked and surprised. And then Lord Shri Krishna told Arjuna, Arjuna, because I was present at your chariot, that's the reason your chariot was not burnt until now. So like this, it's the end of the 18th evening. Duryodhan is on the brink of death. 18 days have gone by, and every single day, or in fact you can say every single moment, Lord Shri Krishna protected Pandavas. He said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, Krishna, when Yudhishthira Maharaj, Lord Shri Krishna, what was all this? At that point of time, Lord Shri Krishna explained how this particular chariot was attacked by celestial weapons today. And then long ago, I had promised Arjuna, in fact, Arjuna had prayed to Krishna, prayed to Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, please always protect me. And Lord Shri Krishna said that time I told Arjuna, so be it. Yes, I will protect you. So Krishna said to Arjuna, that's the reason I have kept my promise until today. Because I gave you the promise I'll protect you, that's the reason I have been protecting you all this while. And that's the reason Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives a message. It's a message for not only for Arjuna, but for all of us. And what does Lord Shri Krishna tell us in Bhagavad Gita? If anyone comes to the shelter of Lord Shri Krishna, becomes his devotees, Krishna says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. And this is the very famous verse. All of you probably have learned this verse. We have given this verse as a homework for you before also. This is 9th chapter, verse number 31. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly. Name bhakta pranashyati. What declare boldly? That my devotees or my devotee will never, never perish. And that is what we see all through the story of Mahabharata, how Lord Shri Krishna, at every time, every point of time, either when Pandavas were in exile in the Vanaparv, how Lord Shri Krishna time and again came and saved Pandavas. Does any one of you remember any incident where Lord Shri Krishna saved Pandavas when they were in exile in the forest? Any one of you remember? Any incident how Lord Shri Krishna saved Pandavas when they were in exile? Riyansh, let's begin with you for today.
Ma'am, what Prabhuji, when Surya gave Akshay Patra, at that time,
I'm listening.
at that time,
All right, you can remember and then we'll come back. Okay, all right. So, how did Lord Shri Krishna Haridhan, yes, Shridhan.
Prabhuji, Krishna saved Pandavas when Durvasa Muni came.
Yeah, Durvasa Muni was the incident. Draupadi prayed, Krishna save us, and Lord Shri Krishna was at Dwarka and immediately came. So the point that I'm trying to make, and the point that we can at least learn from one of the most important lesson from what all we have studied in our Mahabharata is that how Krishna, as Lord Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, my devotee never perishes. And Lord Shri Krishna kept this promise all through the lives of the Pandavas. And not only this, when this particular incident happened, the chariot was burnt. And that time, after that, Lord Shri Krishna took Pandavas inside the camp of the Kauravas, and then everything else happened that we discussed yesterday. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj made a request to Lord Shri Krishna. Again, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked for help from Lord Shri Krishna. What did Yudhishthira Maharaj was scared of? He wanted Krishna to help him. What did Yudhishthira Maharaj told Krishna? My dear Lord, I need your help. We cannot survive without your help. Please help us for this, because you are the only person who can save us from the danger or the imminent danger that awaits us. What was that thing? What Yudhishthira Maharaj requested from Lord Shri Krishna? And once again, we see Lord Shri Krishna came to the rescue of the Lord. What was that thing? Lokya.
Prabhuji, to save from Gandhari.
Say that loudly.
Prabhuji, to save from Gandhari because she
Yeah, because Yudhishthira Maharaj was scared of the ascetic powers of Gandhari. Yudhishthira Maharaj was worried how Gandhari is going to respond when she gets to know that all her sons have been killed by Bhima. So that's the reason Yudhishthira Maharaj requested, my dear Lord, only you can save us from Gandhari. By the way, Lokya, today I went through all your videos. Your My Hero, your, I guess, shloka recitation and all that. Very, very nicely done. Fantastic. Right, Lokya, it was you only, right, who have submitted those entries? Oops. How many entries have you submitted, Lokya? Unmute yourself.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have done these all.
You had what? My Hero, shloka, right?
Yes,
Yes, very nice, wonderful. All right, let's continue with our discussion. We'll come back to it afterwards. So yes, you see again how Lord Shri Krishna saved Pandavas before the war, during the war, and after the war. So this is what we have discussed yesterday. And finally, Lord Shri Krishna told Pandavas to stay back at the Kauravas camp and told Yudhishthira Maharaj to ask his army to go back to their own camp. So now with this, our Shalya Parva ended, and now we begin our Saptika Parva. Saptika means sleeping. So Saptika Parva refers to something that happened particularly at the time of sleeping. And this particularly refers to the camp of Pandavas. So let's begin with this book 10 and see what happens. So at the end of the 18th day, of course, the 18th day, only evening has ended. It's the night time that is about to begin. And 3 warriors have survived as such at the side of Kauravas, beginning with Kripacharya, Kritavarma, and Ashwatthama. So Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Kritavarma goes to the side of a lake where they saw Duryodhan before. And this time when they came to the lake, they were shocked. They were totally shocked of what they saw. Because when they came before at this point, they saw Duryodhan being in a very healthy condition. He was inside the lake. And now Duryodhan was outside the lake His whole body was filled with blood, and his thighs were broken, and Duryodhan was on the verge of death. Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Kritavarma jumped from the chariot and they ran to Duryodhan, asked Duryodhan, what happened? And then Duryodhan narrated the whole ordeal. He said how Bhima, inspired by Lord Shri Krishna, cheated in the mace fight, and he hit me below the waist, below the belt, which is against the rule of the mace game. And that's how they defeated me and they killed me. Duryodhan said, Pandavas have once again cheated us, and that's how they have defeated us. And when Ashwatthama heard this, he became very, very angry. He remembered the 15th day when his father was killed. And he said, hey Duryodhan, my father was also killed by cheating. Pandavas lied to my father. In fact, Yudhishthira Maharaj lied to my father. And today they have killed you by cheating. That's how they killed Karna, by cheating. Pandavas had only cheated. They have only broke the rules at the war. Today I take a vow. I take a vow, Ashwatthama said, that I will kill all the Pandavas. And I will take the revenge of your condition and the death of my father. When Ashwatthama said like this, Duryodhan smiled. Duryodhan turned his face towards Kripacharya. Duryodhan is lying on the ground. Somehow, with his little strength, he turned his face towards Kripacharya and he said, Kripacharya, please fetch me some water, get me some water. Today we'll declare Ashwatthama as the commander-in-chief of our army. The war has not ended because all of you are still willing to fight for my cause. And then he did the process and declared Ashwatthama to be the next commander-in-chief. So at this point of time, Pandavas are at the camp of Kauravas. And rest of all the armies of Pandavas, including Drishtadumna, the sons of Pandavas, everyone else is at Pandavas camp. Of course, along with Pandavas, Satyaki is also there with Pandavas at Kauravas camp. However, everyone else is at the camp of Pandavas. And in the evening time, which is already night time, here Duryodhan still says the war is not over. Ashwatthama, you become the commander-in-chief and you continue the war on our behalf. Take revenge of what Pandavas have done to us. And Ashwatthama gets up from there and says, Duryodhan, I will soon come back with the good news of the death of the Pandavas. I would not leave them alive. Like this, Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Kritavarma leaves. Now Ashwatthama is the new commander-in-chief of the remaining Kauravas army. And all three reached to the side of the Pandavas camp. It is already pitch dark. It is already late in the night. Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, and Kritavarma had been fighting whole day in the war and had been running here and there. They have not eaten anything. They have not drank anything. They're totally exhausted. So Kripacharya, Kritavarma suggested to Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama, is already late in the night. We have reached at the side of the camp of the Pandavas. Let us climb up the tree and sleep for the night. As soon as sunrise happened, we will attack the Pandavas. Ashwatthama was not happy because he was so much filled with anger. He wanted to take revenge. But yet Kripacharya pacified Ashwatthama, and all three of them climbed up a huge banyan tree. Each one of them went onto one respective branch and they slept off. Kripacharya, Kritavarma slept off immediately, but Ashwatthama, he was not able to sleep. His mind was filled with rage and anger. He was just thinking of how can I take revenge of the death of my father and the condition of Duryodhan. And he was not happy that he was wasting his time. He thought this is the best time to attack, but how do I do it? He wasn't sure. So like this, he was lying on the branch of a banyan tree with his eyes wide open. Then suddenly something happened. When Ashwatthama saw that, he got up fully excited and he went to Kripacharya and Kritavarma and woke them up and he said, I have got an idea. I know how we can defeat Pandavas. So what happened? What did Ashwatthama saw that made him so excited, full of energy again? So when Ashwatthama was lying on the branch of a banyan tree, he saw in the pitch dark of the night, owl. जिसे हिंदी में उल्लू कहते हैं, an owl descended from the sky and came right onto that banyan tree. And on one of the branches of the banyan tree, there were many crows that were sleeping, and there were eggs of crows lying there. This owl, taking advantage of the night time, because owls can see in the night but not the other birds, this owl came and gave a surprise attack to the crows, and she silently began to kill all the crows, those crows that were there on the branch. She killed many of the crows, destroyed the eggs, and those who got up, somehow they fought with the owl and they tried to run away, and they again were killed by the owl because crows had no idea what's going on. And like this, the dead bodies of the crows began to fall from the banyan tree on the ground, and Ashwatthama saw that everything. Suddenly, the idea came to Ashwatthama. Aha, now I know how to kill Pandavas. He immediately woke up Kripacharya and Kritavarma. He said, we have to attack now. This is the best time. When they all are sleeping, they'll be taken by surprise and we can destroy. Because when tomorrow sunrise happens, all three of us have no capacity to face the Pandavas. We can only kill them when they're sleeping. And when Kripacharya heard this, Kripacharya was shocked. Kripacharya said, Ashwatthama, this is totally sinful. You're a son of a Brahmana. How can you even think like this? Even a Kshatriya would never do it. Kshatriya gains fame when he fights with a warrior who has a weapon in his hand. He does not even attack a person who does not holding a weapon, or who is running away from a battlefield, or who has surrendered. And you are talking about attacking somebody who is sleeping? This is never ever done in the history of mankind. This is totally sinful. If we do this thing, after this life, we'll have to go to the hellish planets for hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. And like this, Kripacharya tried telling Ashwatthama, this is very, very sinful. You should not do this. But Ashwatthama was not willing to listen. Ashwatthama told both of them, Kripacharya and Kritavarma, if you want to follow me, come behind. If not, then you both are free and do whatever you want. Ashwatthama came down from the banyan tree, climbed up his chariot, and he went towards the gate of, towards the entry gate of Pandava's camp. Kripacharya, Kritavarma was sad that Ashwatthama is not willing to listen to them, but they were helpless because now Ashwatthama was commander-in-chief and Kritavarma and Kripacharya were duty-bound to follow Ashwatthama. And they both thought, anyways, we have already killed so many warriors on the behest of or on the side of Duryodhan, or for the sake of Duryodhan. Let this particular action may also happen. Anyways, we are duty-bound to follow the leader. Like this, Kripacharya and Kritavarma also followed behind Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama reached the gate of Pandava's camp. And when he reached there, he saw a very huge, tall figure standing at the gate of Pandavas. Ashwatthama was shocked. This person had a snake on his neck. He had snakes wrapped around his arms. He was very, very scary looking person. And he was wearing a deer skin on his body. And Ashwatthama became alerted and he began to shoot arrows at this person. He tried all his weapons. He tried celestial weapons. And all these weapons, rather than hitting that person, would disappear in the body of that person. The weapon would enter into the body of the person and would disappear. And Ashwatthama tried his best for a while and he couldn't understand who that person was. Finally, he took shelter of his... Okay, the kids are already excited to give an answer. Okay, so as I see, all of you already have your hands raised up. So which means all of you already know the answer. So I don't need to ask you. Okay, it's a pretty simple one. Okay, let me just see. Some of you look very excited to answer now. Who was this great personality? Ashwatthama shot even celestial weapons and it all disappeared into the body of this person. Who was this? Where is Madhavi? Madhavi, go ahead.
Lord Shiva.
Yes, Madhavi, Hare Krishna. By the way, for all of you, I believe Madhavi is the youngest member in this forum. Madhavi, how old are you?
6 years old.
So actually, she is breaking the rule of this program. This program is open only for 8+ year old kids. and Madhvi is only 6+. So we allow her to break this rule. So she can be part of this program. That's all right. So anyways, thank you, thank you, Madhvi. That was Lord Shiva, indeed, correct. So let's go back to our program or the presentation here. And Ashwatthama began to offer prayers to Lord Shiva. And then this personality spoke, "Hey Ashwatthama, I am the same worshipable Lord that you are offering your prayers." And then Lord Shiva said, "Oh child, all through the war, I was protecting Pandava's sons out of my love for Lord Shri Krishna, because I'm always inclined towards his devotees. They have carried out, means Pandavas have carried out the desires and the plans of the Supreme Lord. Now their whole army is destined to die. Now all the Pandava warriors, not the Pandavas, but all the Pandava warriors are destined to die by time. And you are supposed to be the instrument for the death of all the warriors at the side of Pandavas. That's the reason I have appeared here, to give you this sword with which you can go and slay or kill all the warrior, all the person present here at the Pandavas camp." And like this, Lord Shiva handed over his sword and he empowered Ashwatthama, and he felt so surcharged with energy and felt so fearless that he immediately entered into the Pandavas camp, the whole camp side, and he first found the camp of Drishtadumna, because he wanted to take the revenge of the death of his father, and he attacked Drishtadumna while he was sleeping. Drishtadumna and Ashwatthama fought for a while. Finally, because Ashwatthama was blessed by the power of Lord Shiva, Ashwatthama killed Drishtadumna. Like this, he killed all the brothers of Drishtadumna, and then he entered the camp, which was the biggest tent. And Ashwatthama thought this must be the tent where 5 brothers must be sleeping. And he entered the tent and he saw 5 brothers indeed sleeping there. One by one, he went to each one of them, and while they're sleeping, he killed each one of them. And in the meantime, there is a hue and cry. Everyone has woken up and everyone doesn't know what's going on. It's the middle of the night. Everyone is in deep of sleep. They didn't have their weapons, their armor, and everyone is running here and there. Nobody knows where is the attacker, who has attacked us, and they're just hitting each one of us, each one of them like that. And Ashwatthama, and in the meantime, Kripacharya and Kritavarma came and stood at the gate, hoping that if anyone would try to run away from the gate, they would kill them. So like this, Ashwatthama went inside and began to kill. And those who survived the hands of Ashwatthama, they went towards the gate. And when they came out of the gate, they saw Kripacharya and Kritavarma, who killed them. Like this, in a very short span of time, Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Kripa, and Kritavarma destroyed all the warriors, surviving warriors at the side of Pandavas. After killing all of them, they burnt the whole Pandavas camp. They set fire to Pandavas camp, and then they left. Ashwatthama was feeling proud that today I have killed the sons of Pandu, 5 Pandavas, and Duryodhan would be very happy. So he realized he doesn't have any evidence. So he immediately went back to the camp of the Pandavas and he beheaded the heads of those 5 Pandavas and brought the 5 heads to Duryodhan, thinking that if I give him this 5 heads as an evidence of Pandava's death, then Duryodhan would die happily. So Ashwatthama reached to the lake where Duryodhan was lying. He is on the verge of leaving his body. It is all happening on the 18th night. 18th day has not yet ended. At this point of time, he came and he told Duryodhan, Duryodhan, we have fulfilled our vow. We have killed everyone that was there at the side of Pandavas. And Duryodhan asked, are you serious? How did you manage to escape from Pandavas? So Ashwatthama said, what do you mean by escape? I killed all the 5 Pandavas also. Duryodhan was so excited. He said, really? You really killed? It's not believable. How can you kill? They were invincible. They were protected by Krishna. You really killed? Ashwatthama said, yes, I have got evidences for you. Duryodhan said, really? Can you show me what is that evidence? So Ashwatthama went to his chariot and brought the 5 heads. And he offered the 5 heads to Duryodhan. Duryodhan was shocked. Oh my goodness. Really? Ashwatthama, you have killed 5 Pandavas, you have taken revenge for all of us. And then Duryodhan picked that heads, cut off heads in his hand. He is already devastated. He has hardly any power left in his body. But still, with whatever power might he had, he took those heads and began to press the heads. As he began to press each head one by one, all the heads collapsed. They broke open. And then Duryodhan began to cry. He began to howl. He said, "Alas, alas, what have you done? Hey Ashwatthama, you have performed such a sinful and a terrible act." Ashwatthama was shocked. He said, "What happened?" And Duryodhan said, "Hey Ashwatthama, these are not the heads of Pandavas. Pandavas' heads are so strong that nobody can destroy their heads. And I could easily break their heads, even though I don't have my all power. So these are not the heads of Pandavas. These are the heads of the sons of Draupadi. Ashwatthama, you have destroyed our future hope of the Kuru house. All my sons have been killed, all my brothers have been killed. There is nobody from our lineage. And only hope for Kuru dynasty was from the Pandu's lineage, Pandu's grandsons. And today you have killed them also. Alas, alas." Like this, Duryodhan began to repent and cry at the gruesome act of Ashwatthama. And like this, crying in front of them, cursing himself, cursing all of them, Duryodhan died. This is what happens to a sinful person. Duryodhan was never happy when he lived, nor he was happy when he died. And when he died, he was in so much pain and shock. Crying like this, Duryodhan passed away. Ashwatthama, Kripachar, and Kritavarma totally shocked what to do. And then they set up a fire pyre, put his body on top of it, and burnt his body and performed the final rites. Pandavas in the meantime were sleeping peacefully in the Kauravas camp, and they have no idea what had happened with their army, with their soldiers and warriors in their own camp. So Drishtadumna's charioteer, who somehow escaped, who hid in the camp and escaped from the hands of Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, and Kritavarma, he came running to the side of the Kauravas and he woke up the Pandavas and he informed Yudhishthira Maharaj that what had happened at Pandavas' camp. As soon as Yudhishthira Maharaj heard this, Yudhishthira Maharaj fell on the ground crying, "Oh my goodness, even after defeating our enemies, we are defeated. This is the most bitter victory which is gained at the cost of the lives of so many kinsmen. And today we have lost all our men. We have no friends. We have no brothers. And today we have even lost our own sons in such a sinful manner." And Yudhishthira Maharaj began to cry. And Krishna is not here today because Krishna had left for Hastinapur. Pandavas are all by themselves, and Krishna has not yet returned back from Hastinapur to Kurukshetra. Yudhishthira Maharaj began to cry, and when Bhima heard this, Bhima became so angry. Yudhishthira Maharaj, in the meantime, told Satyaki to bring Draupadi immediately here. We have to give this news to Draupadi. Draupadi was brought in, and when Draupadi got to know this, Draupadi began to cry, and she says, "You have to catch that simple person who had killed my sons." And she began to cry, demanding for justice. Bhima became extremely angry and he ran after Ashwatthama. In the meantime, Lord Shri Krishna arrived. And when Krishna saw this whole situation, he went to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Krishna told to Yudhishthira Maharaj, "Yudhishthira Maharaj, you have just lost your 5 sons and all your other warriors. If you don't send Arjuna behind Bhima, then you would lose Bhima also." So Yudhishthira Maharaj was alarmed. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "What happened, my dear Lord? What are you saying?" And Lord Shri Krishna said, "Hey Yudhishthira, Ashwatthama is a son of a very powerful Brahmana, Dronacharya. And that Dronacharya had taught him the most difficult and powerful celestial weapons. Today, Ashwatthama's life is in danger. He would for sure use the weapon which is not meant to be used on humans. I believe if you don't send Arjuna right now to defend Bhima and to arrest Ashwatthama, then Bhima may die." And then that point of time, Lord Shri Krishna narrated an incident that had happened personally between him and Ashwatthama from Dwarka. And Krishna said, this is Ashwatthama should not be trusted. He should be arrested immediately and punished immediately. And then Lord Shri Krishna told to Yudhishthira Maharaj that how, when Krishna was living in Dwarka, one day Ashwatthama came to meet Lord Shri Krishna. He came and he said, my dear Lord, I would like to exchange a weapon with you. You give me your Sudarshan Chakra and I will give you my Brahmastra. Lord Shri Krishna said, well, you can take my Sudarshan Chakra, but I don't need your Brahmastra. You take Sudarshan Chakra and you keep your Brahmastra also. However, I have a condition. If only you can lift Sudarshan Chakra, then you can take Sudarshan Chakra. If you are unable to lift Sudarshan Chakra, then I can't help you. Ashwatthama said, yes, why not? What's the problem? And then Ashwatthama tried his best. He tried all his strength, but Ashwatthama could not even move the Sudarshan Chakra by inch. Finally, he gave up. And when he gave up, then Krishna asked Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama, why did you desire my Sudarshan Chakra? What was the reason? You know what Ashwatthama said? This is what Lord Shri Krishna tells Yudhishthira Maharaj. Ashwatthama told Lord Shri Krishna that if I had managed to take your Sudarshan Chakra, then I would have challenged you for a battle. Oh Krishna, after defeating you in the battle holding your disc, I would have become the most powerful man on this planet. So Lord Shri Krishna said, this is Ashwatthama is a very devious person. And look what he has done. He should be immediately punished. Like this, Arjuna went behind Bhima and they reached the hermitage of Vyasadeva, of other rishis, where Ashwatthama had taken shelter of. He had taken off his armor, taken off his Kshatriya dress, and he was sitting in a Brahmana attire, thinking that maybe the Brahmanas would save him from the wrath of the Pandavas. Here Arjuna, when Ashwatthama saw that how Bhima and Arjuna are standing at the gate of hermitage, they have come to arrest and kill him. Ashwatthama got so scared, not knowing anything, he invoked the most powerful weapon on this whole universe, that is Brahmastra. When he shot the Brahmastra, this Brahmastra emitted such a light that even he had not seen, as if a second sun has been produced because of this weapon. And when Srila Vyasadeva saw what had happened, Srila Vyasadeva became very alarmed. And he came running to the place where Ashwatthama shot an arrow. And Vyasadeva said, Ashwatthama, what have you done? This weapon is not meant to be shot at humans. This will destroy the whole world. You should take this weapon back. And Ashwatthama said, my dear Rishi, my father only taught me how to shoot, not to take my weapon back. In the meantime, Arjuna was a little terrified. Arjuna saw a very, very terrible weapon coming towards his side. And Arjuna was not sure what is this weapon. And he offered prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. What did he say to Lord Shri Krishna? We'll refer now Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, and I will read a section from there where rest of the discussion happens about this incident. All right. So I'll change my screen from this to Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me just open a Veda base and we'll read from Veda base. So you all have to give me a second. Let's start with it. And let me just pull out the verses. 1 second. It is from first canto, 7th chapter, verse number 22 onwards. 1.7.22, where this particular incident is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. All of you able to see the screen? Big enough? Okay, let me just do what? Document. So some verses we're going to recite and some verses we'll just read the translation. So 1.7.22 is the verse, very important verse. We'll recite this. Arjuna vacha Krishna Krishna Mahabhao Bhakta Nama Bhayankara Tvam Meko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samsritihi. And here Arjuna says, Krishna Krishna Mahabhao, you can only save us, my dear Lord, you can only save us Abhyankara, from the most fearful scenarios in life. Tvam eko dhayamanam, I take your shelter. My dear Lord, please save me from this danger which is just right in front of my eyes. Like this, like this, Arjuna began to offer prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. And he said, Tvamadya Purusha Sakshad Ishvara Prakriti Parha Maya Vyudasya Shaktya Kaivalya Satatmani. And he praised Lord, Lord, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are eternal, you're always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. Like this, for a few verses, Arjuna glorified the Lord and he offered the Lord prayers, saying that, my dear Lord, please help me like this. And then in verse number 27, Lord Shri Krishna said to Arjuna, what is the cause of his fear? Why Arjuna have suddenly become fearful? Because Ashwatthama has shot a weapon which even Arjuna is not aware what is that weapon. Because Arjuna have never ever used this weapon before, so he was a little scared, afraid, not knowing what it is. So here Lord Shri Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Vetedam Drona Putrasya Brahmastram Pradarshitam Naivasau Veda Samharam Pranabhada Upasthite. And here Lord Shri Krishna says, this is the action of the son of Drona, and he has thrown a nuclear weapon which is known by the name of Brahmastra. Hare Krishna. Looks like all of you are, okay, this is old chat, fine. So here, Lord Shri Krishna told Arjuna that, Arjuna, this is a Brahmastra, and Ashwatthama doesn't know how to retract this weapon. However, you know how to do it. So shoot your weapon, shoot your Brahmastra. You have the science of Brahmastra, you have the knowledge of it. You shoot it, and then you call this weapon back. Like this, Lord Shri Krishna suggested to Arjuna to also shoot Brahmastra weapon, and then you can retract both the weapons back. Like this, Arjuna also shot his weapon, and when he shot his weapon, as if there was another sun created in the universe, and both the suns, which means both the Brahmastra, they came and collided with each other. And when these two Brahmastra collided with each other, all the three worlds began to tremble, as if there was an earthquake in all the three worlds, which means the heavenly planets, the earthly planet, the lower planets, and all the living entities began to scream and cry out of fear. At that time, Lord Shri Krishna said, Arjuna, call the weapon back. And here, Vyasadeva told Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama, you have created a great sin. You have used a weapon, but you have no idea how to retract it back. Ashwatthama was ashamed. Now, if he doesn't direct this weapon towards somebody, see, Ashwatthama doesn't know what Arjuna is doing. And Ashwatthama is worried because Vyasadeva had already asked him not to shoot this weapon at Arjuna and, retract it, but Ashwatthama cannot retract. So what to do? Ashwatthama was worried. So at that time, when Arjuna chanted the mantra to call the weapon back, at that point of time, Ashwatthama chanted the mantra and redirected this weapon, a nuclear weapon, towards the womb of Uttara. You getting the point? So Srila Prabhupada in his purports in Srimad Bhagavatam speaks at length that that was the technology in those days. Just by the power of sound, mantra, the person can invoke a weapon, control a weapon, maneuver a weapon, and call the weapon off. So Ashwatthama, not knowing what to do, he was scared. Then he directed this weapon towards the womb of Uttara, and here Arjuna calls the weapon back. And Arjuna thinks that both the Brahmastras have disappeared now because he has called the weapon back. And here Arjuna shoots another weapon, another arrow at Ashwatthama, which ties his hands and legs together. And Bhima goes and captures Ashwatthama, puts him on a chariot, now deciding to bring him back to the camp of Pandavas, where everyone was present at that one time. In the meantime, nobody had an idea that Ashwatthama have actually redirected that Brahmastra towards the womb of Uttara. Uttara was there in the camp of Pandavas, and suddenly, by the way, who was Uttara? Does anyone remember? Who was Uttara? Haridarshan.
Prabhuji, she was the wife of Abhimanyu,
And who was in the womb of Uttara?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Yes. And he is the last, you can say, person in the dynasty of Kauravas. And Ashwatthama wants to destroy the last hope also now. And when Uttara, although Uttara cannot see that, Uttara didn't saw it, but she could feel the danger that something is very dangerous about to happen with her life and the life of the womb or the life of her son, which is in her womb right now. At that point of time, Uttara became so terrified, she began to call out for the help. She began to say, "Hey Bhima, hey Yudhishthira, hey Arjuna, Nakul, Sahdev, save me, save me, save me." No, she did not say like that. Because Uttara knew that even Pandavas are helpless. Even Pandavas are dependent on the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. So Uttara did not call out for her fathers. Rather, Uttara called out for her supreme father. And Uttara said, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Tvad Abhayam Pashye Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, verse number 9. Pahi Pahi, please, please protect me, Mahayogin, the best of the mystics. Deva Deva Jagatpate, you are the supreme Lord of all. Na Anyam Tvat Abhiyam Pashe. Apart from you, there is no one else who can make us fearless. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam, and can save us from the face of death. My dear Lord, please, please help me. My son, my womb is in danger. Like this, Uttara prayed to the Lord, and at that point of time, Lord understood what is the situation with Uttara, and Lord picked up his weapon Sudarshan Chakra. In the meantime, Ashwatthama has been captured by the Pandavas, and they, on the order of Lord Shri Krishna, tried to bring Ashwatthama to the camp of the Pandavas where Draupadi is there. And here, Lord Shri Krishna, in the meantime, enters into the womb of Uttara. He picks a weapon in his hand and he protects the womb of Uttara from the weapon of Ashwatthama. And he finally nullifies the Brahmastras and saves the womb of Uttara, and he comes out. In other words, not comes out, Lord had expanded, and now Uttara is relieved because the womb has been protected because Lord Shri Krishna has nullified the weapon of Ashwatthama. But in this particular episode, hey, why your hands are already up? I have not even made any point here. All of you have a question or you have an answer? You kids are very smart. You're even guessing what I'm about to say. Even I don't know what I'm about to say, but seems like you know what I'm about to say. This is super amazing. Okay, so I don't know what you guys are thinking. Let me just speak out what I'm about to speak, and then I'll see what you want to say. Okay. So here, Lord Shri Krishna, for the safety, for the security of his devotee, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, Lord has violated his own vow. Lord has broken his vow. What did Lord broke? What happened? Lord protected Uttara and he kept his promise. Name Bhakta Pranashyati, which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita 9 chapter verse number 31. So he kept one vow, but simultaneously he broke another vow. So what vow did Lord Shri Krishna break while protecting his another vow of protecting his devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, there is little disturbance in your voice. That's what they are trying to say.
So it just happened now or for a long time?
Yeah, maybe for a couple of minutes, Prabhuji.
Hey, you were not there?
Not couple of minutes, means yeah, you can say just now only. Not that long.
See, kids, if the sound is not good now, put your thumbs down so I would understand what's going on. When you raise hands up, I feel like you want to say something. I mean, you want to give an answer. So you have to change your indication, okay? When the sound is bad, put your thumbs down so I know the sound is not good. Okay, so sound is good now. So here's my question to all of you. Did you hear the question? You got the question. So what's the answer? Okay, let me say that again. Lord Shri Krishna kept his vow, Name Bhakti Pranashyati, by protecting Uttara's womb, Uttara's life. But Lord Shri Krishna broke another vow. What was that vow that Lord Shri Krishna broke to protect his devotee? Vrajapriya?
Krishna had taken that he would not take weapon in any of the warriors.
Yes. The war of Kurukshetra has not yet ended because Ashwatthama was declared as commander-in-chief. The war was still on. And Lord Shri Krishna had taken a vow that he would not lift a weapon. But for the sake of the protection of his devotee, Lord Shri Krishna again was willing to break his vow, and that's the whole point. Again, a very beautiful incident where Lord Shri Krishna is willing to do anything to protect his devotees. In other words, he don't mind breaking his vows if it comes to saving the lives of his devotees like this. So like this, Uttara's life is saved. Let's come back to Ashwatthama. What happened with Ashwatthama? Lord Shri Krishna urges Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama. And Lord Shri Krishna gives reasons that why Ashwatthama should be killed. And there are 6 kinds of aggressors which are described in scriptures. And if anyone if anyone does any of that kind of aggression, then he must be given a capital punishment. Does anyone know what are the 6 kinds of aggressions? If anyone does that, according to Vedic scripture, he can be given a death punishment. Who knows it? Shirang knows it. We recently discussed in our Ramayana session, right, Shirang? Okay. Okay, so let's hear from Jagannath. Okay, let's hear from Jagannath first. Jagannath Prabhu is looking into the books, trying to find an answer. Let's see if he found an answer or not.
Means not to kill the one who has not powers or who need protection.
Did you hear my question even? What are you saying? Okay, let's go to Shirang. Yeah, Shirang. So some of you have just got used to keep your hands up, huh? You don't even listen to the question and you have your hands up in general. Okay, let's go to
The
Shirang.
poison giver, the one who kidnaps anyone's wife, the one who means who burns anybody's house, and the one who kills anybody who is not when a Kshatriya when he's not have any weapon or he's
One who attacks with weapon. Okay, that's the thing. 4 points. What else?
forgot 2 points.
Huh?
I forgot 2 points.
One who takes your property
Yes.
and one who takes your land. Like this, there are 6 kind of aggressors who can be killed. And in the case of our kya naam hai, Ashwatthama, he had already performed a great act of aggression. He had already killed the sons of Pandavas who were sleeping. They were harmless, and he had performed a great sin. So like this, Lord Shri Krishna told Arjuna, hey Arjuna, he deserves a death punishment. Don't leave him. At that point of time, Arjuna said, my dear Lord, let us bring Ashwatthama back to Draupadi. Let her decide what she wants to do. And like this, Arjuna and Lord Shri Krishna caught Ashwatthama and brought her to Draupadi. What happened when Ashwatthama is brought to Draupadi? When Draupadi takes a look, when Draupadi sees Ashwatthama, Draupadi began to cry. She wanted the killer of her sons to be killed, but when she saw Ashwatthama, Draupadi's heart melted. Rather than asking for the punishment of death for Ashwatthama, to surprise of everyone, Draupadi said to Arjuna and Bhima, please leave this Ashwatthama. Everyone was shocked. Bhima was really shocked. Bhima really wanted to kill Ashwatthama for what he had done. And Arjuna, Yudhishthira, everyone was shocked. And then the Draupadi gives 5 reasons why she wants to forgive Ashwatthama. I will not go all the details with all of you, probably not needed at this point of time in life for all of you, these things. I'll just give you a summary. This is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th chapter, verse number 44 to 49, where our Draupadi gives reasons. One of the reasons she gives, he is a Brahmana. Brahmana in any condition, no condition can ever be killed. Second, he's a son of your guru. He is a son of your spiritual master. How can you kill a son of a spiritual master? Third, his mother, Kripi, had already lost her husband. And now Kripi can only be protected by her son. If you kill her son also, so who will protect the Kripi? So like this, she gave several reasons, 5 reasons why Ashwatthama should be released. And when Bhima heard this, Bhima was angry. Bhima says, no, we cannot let this Ashwatthama be, forgiven. He has done a very sinful act. So he comes forward to kill Ashwatthama. At that point of time, Lord Shri Krishna comes and then pacifies Bhima. And Yudhishthira Maharaj says that I agree with what Draupadi says. And so does Nakul and Sahadev. And then Lord Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, kill Ashwatthama, but fulfill the desire of Draupadi that he should not be killed. So Arjuna was confused. I have to pacify, I have to fulfill the desire of Bhima, who wants Ashwatthama to be dead. And Lord Shri Krishna is saying, fulfill the desire of Draupadi. So how can I fulfill the desire of both? Fulfill the desire of Draupadi, who wants Ashwatthama to be forgiven, and fulfill the desire of Bhima, who wants Ashwatthama to be killed. Does anyone know what Arjuna did? What did Arjuna do? Okay, Nandaji. Yes, Nandakumar.
Money from his head.
And?
I don't know more.
And cut off his hairs.
Oh,
So this was a kind of a
half
punishment.
shave, no?
Yeah, like that. Chopped off some part of his hair, which was a kind of a punishment given to people, which was equal to death. And took off the money from his forehead, like that. And then this is how Arjuna pacified both Bhima and your Draupadi. And the similar kind of punishment we see in Mahabharata was given to somebody else also. To whom did a similar punishment was given? Where this person had committed a very sinful act. And then again, Bhima and Arjuna caught him. But Yudhishthira said, no, 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 please don't kill him. So Arjuna chopped off his hairs, made of 5 ponytails on his head, shaved off from areas and left 5 ponytails on his head. Who was this person? Who has not answered today? Okay, Prahlad?
Jayadratha.
Yeah. So don't worry, kids. At the end of the session, I have a question for all of you, and I'll have an opportunity for each one of you to speak. So hang on, huh? Don't get discouraged. All of you would have a chance to speak. Okay, let me go with another question to all of you. Similar punishment was also given by Lord Shri Krishna to someone. This comes from Krishna Leela. Similar punishment was also given by Lord Shri Krishna, where Lord Shri Krishna chopped off his hairs from different parts of the head. And he was a Kshatriya, and for that person it is equivalent to death. Balramji said, you cannot kill him, he's your relative. But he deserved a death sentence, death punishment. So Lord Shri Krishna chopped off his ears. So who was this person? Who has not answered so far? Okay, Himangi and Dhruva.
Rukmi.
Yes, that was Rukmi indeed. So this is how the punishment was given in those days. Okay, that's the whole point here. Let's come to the conclusion of our discussion. Then I have a little exercise for all of you before we conclude our today's session and we meet after a week. So like this, Arjuna took off the money from forehead of Ashwatthama, gave it to Draupadi, and at that point of time, Lord Shri Krishna spoke to Ashwatthama. And Lord Shri Krishna said to Ashwatthama, hey Ashwatthama, you have performed such a sinful act. Everyone from rest of the time in the history to come or in the future to come will call you a coward, would call you a sinful person. You have performed such a sinful act because of which you have to suffer the sinful reactions for a long, long time. You are cursed to wander into the forest all alone. Different parts of your body would ooze blood. Every part of your body would pain. You will not be able to give up your body, although you would want to be killed. You want to give up your body, but you will not die. Your whole body would be diseased and you will suffer like this for a long, long time. And like this, cursing Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama was thrown out of the Pandavas camp, and that Ashwatthama, because as a result of the karma, result of his own actions, came to the forest and is said to be still wandering around. After this incident, Yudhishthira asked Krishna, "My dear Lord, how can Ashwatthama all alone kill all the warriors at the side of Pandavas? How can he kill Drishtadyumna? How can he kill my sons? They were so powerful." And the Lord Shri Krishna said, "Hey Yudhishthira, it was my will. It was my desire. Their time had got completed. Don't worry, all these people, all these warriors have gone back to Godhead. They've gone to celestial abodes. They have attained the perfection of life. Do not worry." Like this, Yudhishthira Maharaj was pacified, and now everyone was called to perform the final rites. So all the Pandavas, all the remaining warriors, and the wives of all the departed souls, they all came to perform the final rites for the departed souls. And like this, the final rites were performed. And with this, Saptika Parva ends, which means the massacre at night. It ends with Ashwatthama being cursed, thrown into the forest, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with Pandavas and along with the wives of all the soldiers who had been killed, he performs the final rites for the previous night massacre. Now the question arises with which the Stri Parva, the book 11 will begin, which we'll discuss next week, is, will Gandhari forgive Pandavas or is she going to curse Pandavas? Because this was a very big question in the mind of Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas. Krishna has already gone and spoken to Gandhari. Did she forgive Pandavas for what had happened to her sons? And right now, the truth about Karna is only known to two people. One is Kunti and second is Lord Shri Krishna. Will Kunti tell the truth about Karna to her sons? Will she tell Yudhishthira Maharaj who was Karna? And if yes, how did Yudhishthira Maharaj respond? What happened becomes the part of our discussion of the 35th episode that we will have next week, titled as Stri Parva. This is the book 11 of Mahabharata. This is post-war, and this will discuss when we meet next week. So before we conclude our discussion for today, which day Pandavas had performed the funeral rites for the warriors who had been slain in the night? Which day? What do you think? Which day could it be? Which day Pandavas had performed the final rites? Okay, most of you, is it the sound? Oh, sound went back again. Hare Krishna. Okay. By the way, this thumbs down is very discouraging signal. I got discouraged for a second. Okay. Good. So which day was it? Which day the Pandavas performed the final rites for the people or the warriors who had died at the hands of Ashwatthama? Who has not given an answer so far? Sorish.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
After the 18th day. 19th day.
Yes, it was on the 19th evening, correct. Because 18th night massacre happened. 19th morning, Ashwatthama was captured, brought back to Pandava's camp. And around afternoon, around the early evening time, after sending Ashwatthama back from their camp, throwing him away, then Yudhishthira Maharaj called for performing the final rites. With that, correct. With that, we conclude our discussion for